The truth is that healthy oceans are essential to all life on Earth. They generate half of the world's oxygen, regulate our climate, and provide food for more than 3 billion people. And today, they need our help. Rising sea temperatures, plastic pollution, and overfishing are putting pressure on these fragile ecosystems.
A tense confrontation behind palace doors, royal tiaras taken without permission, and when Prince William finally learned the truth, his reaction left everyone stunned. What Queen Consort Camilla allegedly did to Catherine, Princess of Wales, crossed a line that nobody saw coming. 3 priceless tiaras, a humiliating public confrontation, and a secret that would shake the royal household to its core.
As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support, and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both.
But it was William's shocking response that changed everything. The British royal family has always been a subject of fascination, with their traditions, protocols, and carefully orchestrated public appearances drawing attention from around the world. Recently, discussions have emerged about an incident that allegedly took place within the palace walls in early November, involving Queen Consort Camilla and Catherine, Princess of Wales. While the details remain largely unconfirmed by official palace sources, various reports have suggested a conflict arose over royal tiaras, sparking conversations about hierarchy, protocol, and respect within the monarchy. According to these accounts, the situation began in late October as Buckingham Palace prepared for 2 significant royal engagements. The first was scheduled for November the 12th, when Queen Consort Camilla was set to host a reception for Booker Prize finalists. Just 2 days later, on November the 14th, King Charles III was due to travel to South Wales for celebrations marking his official birthday. With both events occurring in quick succession, palace staff reportedly found themselves under considerable pressure to ensure every detail met the exacting standards expected of royal occasions. Sources close to the palace suggest that Camilla took an active role in overseeing preparations for these events. She apparently wanted to ensure everything reflected the dignity and prestige of the monarchy. Reports indicate she personally monitored various aspects of the planning, from guest coordination to decor, lighting, and wardrobe selections. Some accounts mention that rare floral arrangements were imported from overseas and bespoke fabrics ordered from Italy specifically for these occasions. For Camilla, these events were reportedly seen not just as ceremonial duties, but as opportunities to demonstrate her authority and position within the royal household. As early November approached, preparations seemed to be progressing smoothly. Guest lists had been finalized, rehearsals completed, and security arrangements put in place. Staff members believed everything was in order. However, behind the scenes, an unexpected complication emerged that would ultimately cause tension within the royal family. The issue centered on tiaras, which in royal tradition carry significant weight beyond their decorative appearance. These jeweled headpieces represent rank, legacy, and position within the monarchy. Each tiara has its own history, and the choice of which one to wear sends a message about status and a role. For formal evening events that attract global media attention, selecting the appropriate tiara is taken very seriously. During her final wardrobe fittings, Camilla reportedly encountered a problem. For the Booker Prize reception on November the 12th, she had planned to wear a deep blue gown. For the King's birthday celebration 2 days later, an elegant ivory outfit had been selected. However, according to these reports, none of the tiaras typically available to her seemed to work well with either ensemble. Some allegedly clashed with the chosen colors, while others appeared too heavy or outdated. A few pieces were apparently unavailable due to maintenance requirements or previous commitments. As the pressure mounted, Camilla reportedly grew frustrated with the limited options. Determined to find a solution, she allegedly began considering pieces beyond her usual selections. Her attention apparently turned to the tiaras associated with Catherine, Princess of Wales. Catherine reportedly had access to several tiaras that would complement both the blue and ivory outfits Camilla had chosen. One piece in particular allegedly stood out: the Oriental Circlet tiara. This refined and versatile jewel has become closely associated with Catherine's public image. According to the accounts, on the evening of November the 4th, after a long day of event preparations, Camilla approached Catherine in a quiet palace corridor to request the tiara. The conversation that allegedly followed has been described by various sources, though no official confirmation exists. Camilla reportedly mentioned that she had heard the Oriental circlet was available and suggested it would be ideal for the upcoming events. Catherine, apparently surprised by the direct request, is said to have paused before responding. She allegedly explained that she had been planning to wear that particular tiara herself, as she had engagements coming up and her outfits had been specifically chosen to coordinate with it. The exchange reportedly became more tense from there. Camilla allegedly pointed out that Catherine had access to plenty of jewelry and suggested she did not need that particular piece at that moment. Catherine apparently maintained her composure while respectfully noting that the tiara had been assigned to her and she had already planned her wardrobe around it. At this point, according to these accounts, the conversation took a more confrontational turn. Camilla allegedly questioned why Catherine seemed to be trying to attract attention and reminded her of her position as Queen Consort, suggesting that when something was needed for the good of the crown, she expected cooperation. Catherine reportedly responded quietly that the matter was not about seeking attention, but about proper preparation and respect for established arrangements. The alleged exchange continued with Camilla stepping closer and making comments about knowing one's place, emphasizing that everything within the palace exists to serve the crown and that she, as Queen Consort, had the authority to decide what was needed. After a brief silence, Catherine reportedly straightened herself and, though visibly affected by the conversation, stated softly that she would make the necessary arrangements. She then allegedly turned and walked away, leaving behind an atmosphere of tension in the corridor. This reported confrontation, if accurate, would represent a significant breach in the usually cordial, if formal, relationships maintained within the royal household. The British monarchy operates on centuries of established protocol, with clear lines of authority and respect. Tiaras, in particular, are carefully assigned based on rank and role, and requesting or reassigning them typically follows specific procedures. The situation allegedly did not end with that corridor conversation. What happened next, according to various reports, would escalate the matter significantly and eventually draw in other senior members of the royal family. The incident reportedly raised questions about boundaries, respect, and the proper exercise of authority within one of the world's most tradition-bound institutions. Whether these accounts reflect what actually occurred remains a matter of speculation, as Buckingham Palace has not issued any official statements addressing these specific claims. By the following morning, whispers had reportedly begun circulating through the palace corridors. Staff members allegedly exchanged quiet glances and spoke in lowered voices, aware that some kind of confrontation had taken place between senior members of the royal family, though the specific details remained unclear to most. Many apparently assumed the matter would be resolved privately, as is customary within royal walls when disagreements arise. The palace has long maintained a tradition of handling internal conflicts discreetly, away from public scrutiny. However, according to various reports, that assumption was quickly shattered just before midday. Camilla's personal security officer allegedly arrived at the royal jewelry vault, accompanied by her senior designer and 2 palace officials. What made this visit particularly noteworthy was that it had not been scheduled in advance, which immediately caught the attention of the officer in charge of guarding the vault. The security of royal jewels is taken extremely seriously, with strict protocols governing who can access them and under what circumstances. The guard on duty reportedly stepped forward, clearly exercising caution. He allegedly asked who had sent them, noting that the items they were seeking to access were logged under the care of the Princess of Wales. According to these accounts, Camilla's designer replied without hesitation that they were there on the Queen Consort's instruction and that the tiaras were needed for upcoming royal events. The guard apparently frowned at this response and asked whether Catherine was aware of the request. He reportedly emphasized that protocol required her approval for any items under her care to be removed. There was allegedly a brief pause before Camilla's security officer answered in a cold tone, stating that Catherine was not the Queen. These words reportedly hung heavily in the air, creating an uncomfortable moment for everyone present. Another aide allegedly stepped in and added that Her Majesty had made it clear that the Crown's needs came first. Despite visible discomfort with the situation, the guard allegedly signaled for the vault to be opened. Inside, rows of priceless jewels reportedly glimmered under soft lighting, each piece representing decades or even centuries of royal history. The first item removed was allegedly the Oriental circlet tiara, the same piece that had been at the center of the corridor confrontation the previous evening. This elegant tiara has been worn by various members of the royal family over the years and carries particular significance in royal circles. However, according to reports, the moment did not end with just that single piece. 2 additional tiaras were allegedly taken from the vault, both closely associated with Catherine, Princess of Wales. One was reportedly the Cambridge Lover's Knot tiara, a piece famously worn by Princess Diana and now strongly connected to Catherine's public image. This particular tiara holds deep sentimental value, representing a tangible link between Diana's legacy and Catherine's role within the royal family. The other piece allegedly removed was the lotus flower tiara, a lighter and more delicate piece that Catherine had worn on several formal occasions. All 3 tiaras were reportedly logged for temporary use under the Queen Consort's authority and sent for fitting and styling. By the time senior aides learned what had happened, it was allegedly clear to many within the palace that this was not a simple borrowing arrangement. To those working closely with the royal family, the situation reportedly felt deliberate, appearing less like a request and more like a statement of power and authority. The news allegedly reached Catherine at exactly 4:30 in the afternoon. She was reportedly in her private sitting room when Mr. John Harrington, described as the long-serving head of the royal jewellery vault, was quietly shown in. His face was reportedly tense, his posture unusually stiff, which immediately signalled to Catherine that something was wrong. Palace staff who have worked there for many years develop an ability to read such subtle signs, understanding when matters of significance have occurred. Mr. Harrington allegedly apologised for disturbing her, but felt she needed to know what had transpired. He reportedly explained everything in detail, describing the unscheduled visit to the vault, the instructions that had been given in Camilla's name, and the removal of not 1 but 3 tiaras from Catherine's care. As he spoke, Catherine's face reportedly tightened and her hands clenched in her lap, visible signs of the emotional impact the news was having on her. Catherine allegedly asked in a low voice whether the tiaras had been taken without her consent. When Mr. Harrington confirmed this was the case, she reportedly expressed disbelief, asking whether he had raised concerns or questioned whether she had approved the removal. He allegedly replied that yes, he had indeed raised concerns and specifically asked whether Catherine had given her approval. Catherine exhaled sharply, and for a brief moment, anger reportedly flashed across her face. However, years of training in royal protocol and public composure quickly took over. She reportedly straightened her posture and nodded calmly. According to accounts, Catherine thanked Mr. Harrington for informing her and told him he had done the right thing. After he left, she allegedly sat alone in silence for some time. The anger was reportedly still present, but beneath it lay something deeper, a sense of disbelief that such a situation had occurred within the carefully regulated environment of the royal household. Approximately an hour later, Catherine reportedly rose with a sense of purpose and made her way to Camilla's private office. The Queen Consort was allegedly there, surrounded by members of her staff including her dresser, her designer, and 2 senior aides. The room reportedly fell quiet the moment Catherine entered, with everyone present immediately sensing the tension in the air. Catherine allegedly asked in a firm but controlled tone whether she could speak with Camilla. The Queen Consort reportedly looked up, clearly irritated by the interruption, and told Catherine to say whatever she needed to say right there, adding that she had nothing to hide. Catherine allegedly took a step forward and asked directly why her tiaras had been taken without her permission. She reportedly pointed out that she had told Camilla she would make arrangements for the 1 tiara that had been requested, yet Camilla had gone ahead and taken 2 additional pieces. Camilla's response, according to these accounts, was delivered in a cool tone. She allegedly stated that she took what was needed because Catherine was behaving as though she were already queen. A murmur reportedly passed through the room as staff members witnessed this exchange. Catherine apparently stiffened but held her ground, stating that the tiaras had been assigned to her and that there were protocols in place, along with expectations of mutual respect. Camilla allegedly let out a short, sharp laugh and questioned Catherine's mention of respect. She reportedly snapped that Catherine seemed to forget who wore the crown at present, emphasizing her position as Queen Consort and suggesting that she did not need to ask permission, but rather had the authority to decide such matters. Catherine reportedly replied that the situation was not about power, but about boundaries and proper procedure. According to the accounts, Camilla leaned back in her chair and stated that Catherine was mistaken, asserting that within the royal household, everything was always about power and hierarchy. The staff members present reportedly stood frozen, watching the exchange unfold before them. Catherine was allegedly being openly challenged and effectively humiliated in front of palace employees, yet she did not raise her voice or lose her composure. Catherine reportedly spoke slowly and deliberately, pointing out that Camilla had taken 3 tiaras, not just the one that had been discussed. She allegedly suggested this was unnecessary. Camilla's eyes reportedly narrowed as she responded that she had taken them because she could, because her position gave her the authority to do so. Silence allegedly filled the room following this statement. Catherine reportedly inhaled deeply before speaking again. She allegedly said quietly but firmly that Camilla should understand one thing, that this action would not be forgotten. She then turned and walked out of the office, her expression reportedly calm but her hands trembling at her sides as she left. Later that evening, as Catherine reportedly tried to compose herself following this confrontation, there was allegedly a discreet knock at her door. It was Lady Eleanor Whitmore, described as a senior palace aide, known for her loyalty to protocol and proper procedure. Eleanor had reportedly worked closely with Catherine for several years and had access to various internal palace communications and information channels. Eleanor allegedly stated that she would not have come unless the matter was important. When Catherine asked what it was, Eleanor reportedly hesitated before sharing what she had learned. She allegedly said she had been contacted by someone from the wardrobe team who had overheard a discussion during a fitting session. Catherine's stomach reportedly tightened as she urged Eleanor to continue. What Eleanor revealed next allegedly came as a significant shock. She reportedly told Catherine that the lotus flower tiara, one of the 3 pieces taken from the vault, was not actually intended for Camilla's use at the official royal events. Catherine's eyes reportedly widened as she asked why the tiara had been taken if not for that purpose. Eleanor allegedly lowered her voice and explained that the tiara was being prepared for Camilla's granddaughter, Lola Parker Bowles. The words allegedly landed like a blow. Catherine reportedly whispered in disbelief that the tiara was intended for a non-royal family member. Eleanor confirmed this was correct, adding that it was meant for a private appearance with no connection to any official royal event or duty. Catherine reportedly felt the room spin slightly as she processed this information. This revelation was allegedly significant because royal tiaras are never loaned for personal family use, especially not to individuals who are not working members of the royal family. The strict protocols surrounding these historical pieces exist precisely to maintain their significance and to ensure they are only used in appropriate contexts that reflect the dignity and purpose of the monarchy. If accurate, this use would represent a clear violation of long-standing royal rules and traditions. Catherine reportedly said quietly that the situation was not actually about necessity, but was instead intended as a message, a demonstration of power and authority. Eleanor nodded in agreement. Catherine reportedly placed her hand over Eleanor's and thanked her sincerely for bringing this information to her attention. When Eleanor left, Catherine allegedly remained seated, staring at the floor. The anger had reportedly drained away, replaced now by a profound sense of sadness and disappointment. That evening at dinner, the atmosphere in Catherine's private quarters reportedly felt heavy and subdued. Prince William was away on a palace assignment, leaving Catherine alone with the children. According to accounts, the children sensed something was wrong despite their mother's attempts to maintain a normal demeanor. Prince George, the eldest, allegedly noticed first and asked gently if his mother was all right. Princess Charlotte reportedly studied her face carefully and observed that she looked sad. Catherine allegedly forced a smile and reassured them that she was fine, explaining it had simply been a long day and that she was missing their father. However, the children could apparently sense that something more significant was troubling her. As she tucked them into bed later that night, Catherine reportedly finally allowed herself a moment alone. The palace felt colder and quieter than usual. She had maintained her dignity throughout the day, but the insult had cut deeply, and this time the matter felt intensely personal. By the following morning, Rumours were reportedly circulating throughout the palace. Servants whispered in corridors. Aides checked schedules more frequently than usual, and security officers appeared more alert than normal. Word had allegedly spread that Prince William and Princess Anne might be returning earlier than originally planned from their respective duties. For Catherine, this news was both unexpected and deeply comforting. William had been scheduled to return on the 6th of November, so hearing that he might arrive sooner allegedly filled her with a sense of relief and warmth. According to reports, Catherine did not particularly care about protocol or official timing at that moment. She simply wanted her husband home. If there was anyone who could provide steadiness and support during this difficult situation, it was William. That morning, her mood reportedly lifted noticeably. The change showed in the way she greeted staff members, in the softness of her smile, and in the calmer manner in which she carried herself throughout the day. Several aides allegedly noticed the difference immediately, with one quietly commenting to another that she appeared lighter and more at ease. However, the improved spirits did not last long. Just before noon, Catherine reportedly decided to call William herself, wanting to hear confirmation directly from him about his early return. When he answered, his voice was allegedly warm and familiar, providing immediate comfort. Catherine reportedly asked carefully whether it was true that he might be coming back earlier than planned. There was allegedly a pause on the line, brief but heavy with meaning. William reportedly responded gently that he was sorry, explaining there had been some kind of miscommunication or confusion. He allegedly told Catherine that both he and Princess Anne would be returning on the 6th, as originally scheduled. Catherine reportedly closed her eyes at this news and responded quietly with a simple acknowledgement. William allegedly continued, saying he knew this was disappointing, but promising he would be home very soon. Catherine replied softly that, yes, of course she understood. After the call ended, Catherine reportedly sat still for a long moment. The brief happiness and sense of anticipation drained away, replaced once again by the familiar ache in her chest. The tiara issue, the confrontation with Camilla, the words spoken behind closed doors, all of it allegedly returned at once with renewed weight. William was not just her husband, but her safe place, her closest friend, and the one person she trusted completely with her deepest pain and vulnerabilities. She reportedly wanted desperately to share everything with him, to pour out all the details of what had happened, but she would have to wait. The night passed slowly for Catherine. Then, on the morning of November the 7th, everything allegedly changed. Prince William and Princess Anne returned to the palace after completing their formal briefing with the king. The palace reportedly seemed to breathe more easily with their return. The children ran toward William the moment they saw him. Prince George allegedly clung to his leg, Princess Charlotte laughed with delight, and Prince Louis jumped into his father's arms. For a brief moment, Catherine reportedly allowed herself to smile. It was small and fleeting, but genuine. Seeing William back in the palace, hearing his laughter echo down the hallway, and watching him kneel to speak softly with the children, allegedly reminded Catherine of what steadiness and security felt like. For several days, she had been holding herself together through discipline and royal training alone. Now, for the first time since the incident began, her heart reportedly felt somewhat lighter. However, the smile and sense of relief did not last long. Later that evening, after dinner had ended and the children were safely tucked into bed, the palace slowly grew quiet. The noise of staff members going about their duties faded, footsteps softened in the corridors, and the long hallways returned to their familiar stillness. William and Catherine reportedly retreated to their private quarters, a space that belonged only to them, away from the formality and constant observation of palace life. William allegedly closed the door behind them and turned to face his wife. According to accounts, he did not need words at first. One look was apparently enough to tell him something was seriously wrong. Catherine's shoulders were tense, her eyes looked tired in a way that sleep could not fix, and the calm mask she wore so skillfully in public had begun to crack in this private moment. William reportedly said gently that she did not look all right and asked what was wrong. Catherine allegedly opened her mouth to answer, but found that nothing came out. Her throat tightened with emotion. She shook her head slightly as if trying to dismiss the question or perhaps gathering the strength to respond. William allegedly stepped closer, his voice even softer now, telling her firmly that something had happened and he needed to know what it was. Catherine reportedly exhaled slowly and moved toward the sofa, sitting down with careful deliberation. She folded her hands tightly in her lap, her fingers pressing into one another. For a long moment, she allegedly stared at the floor, gathering herself and deciding where to begin. Then finally, she spoke, saying quietly that while he had been away, something had gone very wrong. William reportedly sat beside her immediately and told her to explain everything. And she did. According to these accounts, Catherine's words came slowly at first. She spoke of Camilla's demand for the tiara, describing how sudden it had been and how little room there had been for her to respond in any meaningful way. She described the corridor where the initial conversation took place, the tone that had been used, and the way certain words and implications had made her feel small, unseen, and dismissed within her own household. Then she reportedly told him about the vault incident. She explained in detail how the tiaras had been taken without her consent or knowledge. Not just one piece, but 3 significant tiaras, all removed from her care without any regard for proper protocol or her position. She allegedly spoke about the subsequent confrontation, describing how she had stood there in Camilla's office in front of multiple staff members while her authority was questioned, her position diminished, and her dignity openly challenged. And then Catherine reportedly reached what was perhaps the most painful part of the entire situation. She allegedly told William about the lotus flower tiara, explaining that it had not even been taken for official royal duty or any legitimate crown purpose. Her voice reportedly broke as she revealed it was intended for personal use for someone outside the working royal family. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she spoke. She did not wipe them away. She had held them in for too long, maintaining her composure through every difficult moment. And now, in the safety of her private quarters with her husband, they finally fell. William reportedly did not interrupt her at any point. He did not look away or try to minimize what she was telling him. He did not move from his position beside her. He simply listened with complete focus, every muscle in his body reportedly tense with restraint as he absorbed the full weight of what his wife had endured. When Catherine finished speaking, the silence between them allegedly felt heavy and almost painful in its intensity. William reportedly said at last, his voice low and controlled but filled with quiet anger, that what had happened was completely unacceptable. He allegedly told Catherine that she should never have been treated in such a manner. Catherine shook her head slowly and said that it was not just about authority or protocol. It was about something deeper. William reportedly looked at her carefully and asked her to explain what she meant. Catherine allegedly took a deep breath, steadying herself before speaking. She told William that he knew about those tiaras, but she did not think she had ever fully explained to him what they truly meant to her on a personal level. William reportedly nodded once and said simply that he was listening and wanted to understand. She allegedly began with the first piece. The Oriental circlet, she said. Her voice, calm but emotional, was one of the first tiaras she had been entrusted with after becoming Princess of Wales. It was not loud or showy, did not demand attention, but it carried a sense of quiet strength. She reportedly looked down at her hands as she spoke, explaining that it had been worn by Queen Alexandra during times when restraint mattered more than display. When she wore it, Catherine allegedly said she felt balanced and grounded. It reminded her that true leadership does not need to shout or dominate to be powerful and effective. William reportedly watched her closely, his expression softening as he listened to her words. Catherine continued, speaking about the lover's knot tiara. That particular piece allegedly carried a different kind of weight for her. She paused, swallowing hard before continuing. It had been Diana's, she said quietly. Diana had worn it often during her time as Princess of Wales. When people saw it on Catherine, they did not just see a beautiful tiara. They saw Diana's memory, her legacy, her enduring presence within the royal family. Catherine's voice reportedly trembled as she went on. She allegedly said she never wore that tiara lightly or without thought. She wore it when she felt strong enough to carry Diana's memory, when she wanted to honor the role that Diana had never gotten the chance to finish, the legacy that had been cut tragically short. William's jaw reportedly tightened, emotion flashing briefly across his face, but he remained silent and let her continue. And then Catherine allegedly whispered about the lotus flower tiara. She paused even longer this time, choosing her words with particular care. That piece, she said, represented change, growth, and transformation. It symbolized renewal and grace under pressure. She had worn it during times when she was still finding her place within the royal family, when everything felt overwhelming and uncertain, and she needed reminding that becoming something new, growing into a difficult role, is often painful but ultimately necessary. Catherine reportedly looked up at William, tears shining in her eyes. She allegedly said that the tiara had helped her remember who she was and who she was becoming. And it had been taken, she said, not for any legitimate duty or purpose, not for the crown, but simply to make a point, to demonstrate power and control. William reportedly reached out and took her hands in his, holding them firmly and securely. Catherine allegedly whispered that the tiaras were not just jewels or decorative pieces. They were meaningful parts of her journey, symbols of her growth and her connection to the role she had taken on. For a moment, William reportedly said nothing, simply holding her hands and processing everything she had shared. Then his voice came, steady and resolute. He allegedly said that this situation would not end the way it currently stood, that there would be a resolution. Catherine reportedly searched his face and said quietly that she did not want conflict or drama. She just wanted dignity and respect. William allegedly replied without any hesitation that she deserved both dignity and respect, and that she would have them. The strength and certainty in his voice reportedly allowed Catherine to finally let go of some of the tension she had been carrying. She leaned into him, resting her head against his shoulder. He wrapped his arms around her, holding her close in a protective, steady, and present embrace. William allegedly said softly that he should have been there when all this happened. Catherine whispered in response that he was here now, and that was what mattered. For the first time in days, Catherine reportedly felt truly safe. However, as William held her, his eyes remained open, distant, and focused on something beyond that moment. Because according to accounts, he already knew one thing with absolute certainty. This matter was far from over. By the following morning, William was reportedly already awake well before dawn. The clock beside the bed allegedly read 6:54 when his eyes opened. He had not slept deeply, and when he woke, his mind was clear and his decision was already made. According to accounts, there would be no waiting, no careful delays, and no time wasted in addressing what had happened. The matter had crossed too many lines to be ignored any longer. 6 minutes later, Catherine reportedly stirred beside him. She turned slightly, her eyes half open and still caught in the haze of sleep. Before she could speak or fully wake, William's voice allegedly broke the quiet. He said they were going to act immediately, that very day in fact. There was reportedly no greeting, no softness in his tone, just direct purpose. Catherine allegedly sat up slowly, pushing her hair back from her face. She asked what he meant by act, pointing out that it was barely morning. William turned to face her and said simply that he knew what time it was. Catherine reportedly stretched her arms lightly, trying to clear her head and make sense of what he was saying. She asked where they were going to act and how. William allegedly did not raise his voice or rush his words. He stated calmly that they were going to address the situation properly. Catherine's brows reportedly drew together as she asked with whom they would be addressing it. William held her gaze and replied that they would be speaking with his father, the king. That statement apparently woke Catherine fully. She was silent for a moment, looking down at the bed covers and then back at him. She asked if he meant they would do this today. William confirmed that yes, it would be today. Catherine reportedly inhaled slowly. There were numerous questions she could have asked, and many concerns she could have voiced, but she chose not to. She had spent days exercising restraint and careful thought. She would not undo that approach now. She allegedly said quietly that, all right, she understood. William reportedly reached for her hand and told her firmly that he would not allow this matter to be brushed aside or minimized, not after everything she had been put through. Catherine squeezed his fingers once and said simply that she knew he would not. They got out of bed together and began preparing for what lay ahead. Catherine reportedly moved toward the window, pulling the curtains back just enough to let the early morning light filter into the room. The palace grounds looked calm and almost indifferent to what was happening inside. It struck her how easily pain and conflict could hide behind such beautiful walls and carefully maintained appearances. Catherine allegedly dressed carefully that morning, choosing clothes that felt appropriate for such a serious meeting. Simple, well-tailored, and dignified. William did the same. Neither spoke much during this process, but their movements were reportedly synchronized and purposeful, both understanding the significance of what they were about to do. As Catherine fastened her bracelet, she finally said that she did not want this to become a battle or create lasting division within the family. William allegedly stepped behind her and replied that it would not become a battle, but it would be made absolutely clear what had occurred and what needed to change. Breakfast was reportedly quiet. Catherine barely touched her plate, her thoughts drifting not to anger but to disappointment, to how something so deeply personal had been handled with such apparent disregard for protocol and respect. At 9 o'clock in the morning, they were ready to leave their private quarters. As they walked side by side through the palace corridors, Catherine reportedly felt a mixture of nerves and calm determination. Whatever happened in the meeting ahead, she would not face it alone. William allegedly opened the door for her and said softly that they would handle this together. Catherine nodded in agreement, straightening her shoulders as they walked toward the king's chambers to address the matter that could no longer be ignored.